Good afternoon. Today, my guest is Will Allen, the director of the Sundance acclaimed documentary Holy Hell, which details his many years of living in a cult. Will,
Mhm.
welcome.
Hel-
It,
Hello.
it's fantastic to have you. My first question, well, for those who don't know the film, do you want to give a 20-second background of what you
Yeah,
would say it's about?
yeah. The film itself is I haven't done that for a while, but it's about a 20-year story of from the beginning to the end of a social experiment which became a cult. We had a leader, and so the film kind of documents 20 years because I was in there for 20 years and taking footage and filming after film school. So I had all this footage, and things went bad, and so it tells that story of what happened, how that transpired with this group of people.
And as I recall, um, your one of your official roles within the group was to be the videographer, right?
Yes, yeah, I was self-chosen because I just got out of film school, and I really had never seen anything like this. So I was impulse to film it, and so I started filming everything because it felt so unusual, and it was. That was correct.
Right. But at the time, over time, you became, I think, more aware of just how unusual, to use your word, it
Hmm.
was, correct?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, yeah, it was the story of how you become indoctrinated and how you can't get out of something that isn't. It's a paradox is of what you think you started, and it changes. It's a lot like a relationship or a marriage where halfway through you kind of get to know everyone,
right.
and you're confronted with making different choices or not making choices, and so it's really about how susceptible people are to conditions they find themselves in, they feel they can't get out of for some reason or another. So
And in this case, um, you're certainly one of the protagonists. And how did you, in going back and making the film of the video you had shot, how did you balance authenticity with sensitivity to yourself? To you have family members that are in the
hmm
film,
hmm
friends.
hmm
Um,
yeah, that was a tough one. That was like what we called a I used to call it a moral dilemma. I would talk to my lawyer, go, I'm having a moral dilemma. He's like, it's an ethical dilemma. It's not a moral dilemma. So I was like, okay, well,
Oh, that must have been very reassuring.
yeah, I had to Google the difference, but no,
Right.
it was really difficult but how I rationalized telling the story authentically is because we really thought we were doing something completely authentic, and we always wanted to be transparent. So I thought, well, this is us putting our money where our mouth was and sharing with the rest of the world what we thought was important, what we were doing. So I did protect a lot of people. I protected a lot of the people who were abused. And so the editing had to be very careful. And I had to select people who wanted to speak, who I wanted them to speak. And we just really focused on that, on those people. We told the story. We didn't involve everyone. And but we did expose the teacher pretty hardcore. Um, and that was a risk that he could have sued theoretically. Um, so that was a risk we all took. I took. Um, but yeah, it was a delicate thing to for myself not to. I was just trying to be honest. Really, it was trying to be as honest as we could. It was hard to condense something like that into 90 minutes.
Right.
So because of that, there's shortcuts. There's a lot of things that aren't in there, which I think creates for the audience questions. They want things filled in, but that would have been a different
And
movie.
and on the personal level, uh, it the experience of the film is that you're very transparent about yourself
Hmm.
and the
Yeah.
abuse you
Hmm.
suffered.
Right.
Do you have any regrets about that?
Oh yeah, totally. No, but my mother did. She was worried, like, "Well, are you going to really put yourself out there?" I was like, "Mom, I have nothing to lose." I really had nothing to lose, and I felt like we all were raised with Oprah Winfrey. We've all heard all this, so I wasn't saying anything brand new. on that level. I've seen people come before me who are brave, and I found that to be helpful. So because I believed in the truth, I believed this was the truth. So I didn't have a huge problem.
That's so, but you acknowledge you were brave.
Oh yeah. Well,
It
one time we
feels a
it,
very brave film.
I didn't think about it, but once it was showing in Madrid at a film festival, and the curator at the end goes, "You are so brave." And I'm like, I hadn't heard that yet. And I was like, uh-oh, that's just scary. That's scary to hear that. Like, I shouldn't have been brave.
I've made a mistake.
Yeah, like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, yeah.
The I mean, as you've seen, as you're aware, and as I've seen in my experience on the distribution side, audiences are just very attracted to films about cults,
Yeah.
about being in a cult, about leaving a cult, about the experience of before and after. From your perspective, having been in a cult and
Mhm.
having and now having filmed it, having shared a film about it, why do you think people are so interested in that topic? What do you think catches them?
Well, I think it's like, I haven't said, this is a good question. I haven't been asked this. But it's like how elephants can sense a dead elephant. They kind of look at it and they worry about it. I think we're a tribal people, like all of us are human beings, and we seek tribal community. We seek like-minded things. And so I think everyone is, maybe not everyone, but people can be curious about um, people who take those chances in a, I don't know, in a community setting. I mean, I don't know. I think we're all searching for community, family, relationships, something like that. And so, and we're very cautious about how that can go wrong or right. I don't know. I mean, it was really one of the early, when I made the film, I was like, there are no cult films. There's no films on this subject. So I kind of decided just to make it more of a personal story. And I wasn't, we didn't even call ourselves a cult. You know, it was really a hard word to use. We always thought we were just a spiritual community. So to even use that word was bringing it to a level of like a negative. And I wanted to kind of break that concept of like, well, cult is like you know, culture has the word cult in it. It's a subculture. And there's so many different cultures that people gravitate towards for a million reasons. Yeah, so I think that people can relate to it somehow, and also they relate to it a lot on like if their innocence or something, a part of them was abused on any level in their life, their trust, their whatever. They people who would never have joined a cult really said, "Thank you, God, you know, thank you so much because I saw myself there, even though I would never have done what you did. I've experienced the same sort of abuse on some level."
And my sense too is that as you're describing it, there are shades in your experience of other kinds of relationships, of a family dynamic, of a group of
Mhm.
friends, of I mean, it's at an extreme, but it is not totally different than being in a workplace with people and different personalities and
Mhm.
different power structures.
And an abusive relationship. Now, see, we didn't realize, really, we didn't realize what a narcissist was. We thought a narcissist was like a narcissistic person, like narcissism. And we thought the teacher was narcissistic, like, yeah, he's super vain. But we didn't understand the damage that narcissists can cause. And so I think, and then a friend of mine had related it to any someone getting in and out of an abusive relationship, a woman going in and out, or a man going back and forth into a
Right.
relationship. It's like, why do they go back? Why are they attracted to each other? There's something there that's happening, and it's a disproportionate power usually, and there's always someone more in power. And we were walked right into this. We gave him all our power, but people can do that in relationships and workplaces and job everywhere, and they suppress their feelings and all that kind of stuff.
And I think and I mean, that's my hypothesis in part, that people recognize themselves or familiar situations in these stories that, albeit more extreme, are
Mhm.
not in a totally different world. I mean, there's
Yeah, they're normal life. I mean, you love someone and your wife or someone cheats on you. I mean, there's abuse happens in every relationship. And so, well, why do people stay? You know, they're going to lose so much and, you know, all
right,
these reasons. So it's really a rationale. It's kind of exploring what keeps people bound, I think, to these things. And I didn't know. I really was investigating like, were we all codependent? Were we all broken when we got there? But we all were there for different reasons.
right.
And so it's fascinating.
Well, the film continues to gain audiences and
Mhm.
favor, and critical acclaim in the various countries in which it's being distributed. And I know audiences who have not yet seen it are going to, once they start, they're not going to be able to stop.
Hmm. Hmm.
So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Do you have any questions for me before we wrap up?
No, did you want to talk about anything production or sales or?
Well, um, the as you know, when it after it premiered at Sundance, we did a raft of sales, and as is typical, after that first window expires, then the goal is to just get it out on as many platforms as possible. And what I found is that the more platforms you're on, whether it's Apple iTunes or Tubi or YouTube, the more the film is available, the more people will see it
Mhm.
because um, in this day and age, it's hard to get someone to transfer their allegiance from one platform to another if your habit is to watch
Mhm.
things on Tubi or
Mhm.
Peacock. um, it's pretty unlikely that you're going because you've heard of something, you're going to go look on Amazon.
Mhm.
And so the goal is to have the film available on as many platforms as possible so that you're capturing people's attention who
Mhm.
are already on that platform. And
Mhm.
hopefully the
I see. Yeah.
recognizability of the title will click and somebody will think, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
that. And it's on the platform that they're on. You're not
Right.
forcing them to switch, to give
Right. So
a
that
credit card to a new to a
right.
new platform.
Well, I want to give you credit because you got us a 4-year contract with Netflix to begin with, and that was for subscription streaming. Netflix was our parent company, and then but CNN came in and kind of took ownership as a non-subscription commercial
Yeah,
channel.
yeah,
So we were with them for 4 years, and we still are a little bit. I'm not quite sure. They have so many different departments, but that was an interesting thing to watch. How we went, through the 4-year process, and then we were able to jump out and go into more platforms
right.
after those contracts were finished. That was fascinating uh,
And
to
it
watch.
continues.
It does continue every time there's a new audience. Like sometimes there's an article. We fall in a lot of best of creepy films or best
Right,
of certain films,
right,
but it gets great feedback. And when those articles come out, we get a new burst of people seeking the film, and we get a little back in residuals will happen, small amounts, but
right.
it's lovely. Mhm.
And that's what we're seeking to do here. So
That's
thank
right. Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping me to help you, to
Yeah.
help
Thank
me
you.
help you.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Okay.
And take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.